Do we have to answer all the big questions before doing one tiny small act? If you do something nice or kind for someone, does that mean you are agreeing to everything they might be doing or what they believe in? Does that have to mean you are embracing all, or that you're taking a stand on one side or the other? I've had parents refuse to go to their own children's weddings because there might be a father-daughter dance, or there'd be some dancing at the end among the young people. Or they would be judged by the other elders in the church as condoning dancing. Or if they were marrying someone of another faith and that family demanded there'd be a bar at one end far away from everyone else for those that's part of going to a wedding. Okay, well now I can't go. I've had people go crazy if I visited somebody who everybody knew had an affair. I'm trying to win them back to Jesus. She says, Pastor Dan, you can't go out to eat with them. You can't. They'll think that what they are doing is all right, that you approve. Is that necessary? I was pushed hard not to go to a wedding where two pastors who had an affair got married. They'll think that you think it's okay, Pastor Dan. So what do you think? What got me thinking about this recently, a group of Christian gay people needed a place to have their annual camp meeting. And so a local church, as far as I understand, without endorsing anything or anybody, not trying to make a statement, just wanted to be welcoming and offered a room on their campus. But as the advertising went out, you can guess there was a bit of a firestorm because people assumed that this meant agreeing or approval or embracing or encouraging. No, as far as I understand, what they said is just that it was trying to be Christ to a group of people. It is, of course, very difficult to control how people understand and interpret it. You can't control that once it gets out. And I'm in no position to judge any of it, wasn't a part of it, not on one side or the other. I had no role. But I heard a little bit of the firestorm. But then a friend of mine told me this story, which got me thinking. Without thinking any deep thoughts of agreeing or approving or anything else, to my knowledge, he has not made any of those sort of policy decisions. But just trying to be human and gracious, they attended that communion service that weekend. And when it came time for the foot washing service, they approached a person who seemed to be sitting there alone, had no one to serve them, and said, "It would be my privilege to serve you." And he said they had a lovely spiritual time serving each other. Then they told me, Pastor Dan, on social media somewhere, they saw this, that individual had been so moved by that act of kindness. He wrote a testimony of how moving it had been for him. A gay man who had never really felt any grace like that from any church member, to be served by a person of significant stature within the larger church, did not interpret that. Did not say he interpreted it as some grand approval or policy decision or anything else. It was just an act of grace, a small act, without all kinds of other overtones. And that couple then invited me to their wedding even after they had some affairs. They said, Pastor Dan, we will not interpret this as approving anything that's happened. We know how you feel, but we'd love to have you come. Do we have to have answered and solved all questions of ethics and rightness and what about this and what about that before we can offer small acts of thoughtful kindness? Does attendance at a wedding or a party or a hug in the lobby or any sort of act of Christian grace have to be loaded with possible interpretations and assumptions? Lady Di would go around the world and touch landmine victims or people in a leper colony or HIV victims or children with cancer. She didn't have to answer all the deep questions or approve or disapprove anything. She just touched and loved and sat with people, and people loved her for it. Jesus seemed to like going to parties, and he didn't seem to let possible misunderstandings keep him away. Going didn't mean he approved of who got married, or what they had done before the wedding, or whether there was wine at the wedding, to look at that story. He didn't weigh in on tax collector sins or the dangers of drinking or anything else. He just went to the party. He raised the widow of Nain's son back to life without asking a single thing about his lifestyle or his moral record or even his name. He just raised him up and gave him back to his mother. The father forgave the prodigal son without any detailed probe into what he had done or where all his money had gone. Did Jesus have anything to say about the world? Sure he did. But he could still commit acts of love and kindness without referencing any of all that. I might well be wrong in all this. I'm still thinking it through and processing. And I'll be glad to hear from many of you that want to reach out to me and say, boy, I heard what you said, but it is what I've been thinking about since I heard that story. The powerful grace of Christian small acts without all policy decisions be sorted out. Just an idea. God bless you. Thanks for being a part of our little video ministry here. So we'd love it if you enjoy what we have made, if you can like it and forward it on to other people, and we'll build a ministry on social media, Race Force YouTube. God bless.